Before they were legends, before the stadium lights and screaming fans, there was a quiet man behind the glass. George Martin, the fifth Beatle, the architect behind the sound that changed the world. His touch turned melody into magic, harmony into history. These are the 10 Beatles songs George Martin himself considered their greatest masterpieces. Number 10. Strawberry Fields Forever. When Lennon brought a rough demo of this dreamlike song, it was chaos. Slow, strange, almost unlistenable. But George Martin heard the potential. He combined two completely different takes, one faster, one slower, by adjusting the tape speed, creating the song's surreal, floating feeling. Lennon called it psychedelic perfection. Martin called it one of their boldest experiments. "It was John's dream," he said, "but technically it was our miracle." The result? A timeless masterpiece that blurred the line between dream and reality. Number 9. Yesterday. Just Paul and his acoustic guitar. But to George Martin, it wasn't enough. He added a string quartet, a radical move for a pop song in 1965. Many thought it would ruin the Beatles' rock image. Instead, it made Yesterday the most covered song in history. Martin later said, "Paul wrote a beautiful melody, but the strings made it eternal." It was proof that the Beatles could outgrow rock and roll and step into art. Number 8. A Day in the Life. George Martin called it the Beatles at their absolute peak. He orchestrated that famous 24-bar orchestral rise, a chaotic swell of sound symbolizing the rush of modern life. Lennon and McCartney's contrasting halves were stitched together with Martin's genius. He hired 40 classical musicians, told them to play from your lowest note to your highest, in chaos. The final piano chord, played by 4 men on 3 pianos, still echoes across generations. A finale worthy of their greatest album. Number 7. Eleanor Rigby. Paul's haunting story of loneliness became a cinematic tragedy under Martin's arrangement. No guitars, no drums, just a string octet playing like knives. Martin took inspiration from Bernard Herrmann's scores for Hitchcock films. The result was both elegant and chilling. He said, "We proved you could make pop music that was pure drama. Every note feels like a tear that refuses to fall." Number 6. In My Life. George Martin's fingerprints are all over this track. When John Lennon wanted a Baroque-style piano solo, Martin recorded himself playing it slowly, then sped up the tape to sound like a harpsichord. It became one of the Beatles' most emotional moments. Martin later said, "That song was John looking back and me helping him build the bridge to his memories." Nostalgia perfectly captured in sound. Number 5. I Am the Walrus. Lennon's wildest song needed a mad scientist. Martin became exactly that. Layering orchestras, choirs, and even radio static, he built a psychedelic storm around John's surreal lyrics. Critics didn't understand it, but Martin did. "It's nonsense," he said, "but glorious nonsense." This was studio wizardry at its finest, proof that chaos could be beautiful. Number 4. Something. George Harrison's masterpiece was treated by Martin with reverence. He arranged the lush orchestral background that gently lifted Harrison's voice and guitar. Martin once said, "It was George's finest hour, and he finally stepped out of Lennon and McCartney's shadow." The song became Frank Sinatra's favorite Beatles tune, a timeless symbol of quiet devotion. Number 3. All You Need Is Love. Broadcast live to over 400 million people, this anthem was chaos on paper. George Martin made it sound effortless. He merged brass, strings, and snippets of classical music, even La Marseillaise, to give it a universal feel. Martin's orchestration turned Lennon's simple lyric into a global message. Love wasn't just the theme, it was the production itself. Number 2. Penny Lane. Paul imagined a vivid portrait of his Liverpool childhood, but it was George Martin who painted it with color. He added the bright piccolo trumpet solo, inspired by Bach, after McCartney saw a classical concert on TV. That one sound transformed the song into pure sunshine. Martin later said, "It was the happiest record we ever made." Listening to Penny Lane is like walking through memory itself. Number 1, Hey Jude. Martin said this was Paul's song of comfort and the Beatles' gift to the world. The long fade out, the orchestral crescendo, the endless na-na-nas, all were Martin's ways of turning a simple ballad into an emotional epic. Recorded during the band's most fractured days, Hey Jude reminded them, and us, of what made them magic. It was love, Martin said. Always love. George Martin didn't just produce the Beatles. He translated their dreams into sound, chaos into harmony, youth into legacy. Without him, the Beatles might have been just another great band. With him, they became eternal.